Galloway joins us. George, welcome to This Week.
Thank you.
George, does it make no difference that this time Iraq has asked for help from the US, its Arab allies and so on? Does that change the equation?
It does make a difference. It makes it legal, where the bombing in Syria right now is illegal. But it doesn't change the other two issues that I raise. It's indiscriminate. You cannot believe anyone who tells you about precision targeting, bombing, weapons and so on. It'll kill a lot of civilians, women, children, and when they're dragged out of the rubble, it will do the third of my triptych. It will be counterproductive. It will strengthen the fanatics and strengthen their appeal across the 1.7 billion Sunni Muslims in the world, including those here.
There is expertise in Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Iraq and the UAE and Bahrain, all of whom I think are involved in this operation. And that I do find persuasive. I mean, those countries surely can make the George argument if they care to make the George argument, but they don't. They make an opposite argument. They say that they want our help now. And that is, they do indeed intend to fight this enemy on the ground. They are fighting the enemy on the ground, but they want us to help them to fight it from the air.
George.
Well, all of those countries you mentioned are, of course, dictatorships to whom freedom and liberty is an alien concept. Secondly, they're not actually...
George.
Sorry?
Jordan isn't a dictatorship.
Jordan is a royal, absolute monarchy dictatorship. I'm sorry, you haven't spent enough time there. The dictatorships that Michael prayed in aid are themselves not speaking for their people. Indeed, much of the support for ISIL comes from countries like Saudi Arabia, much of the money in the beginning. And these countries that you mentioned, several of them, are up to their neck in the blood in the region in the first place. And thirdly, I'm not sure they are involved. I haven't seen any pictures of any Saudi aircraft bombing Syria or Iraq. I haven't seen their livery anywhere. They're on the paper, they're on the masthead, but I don't think they are a significant military part. I don't think they'd even claim to be. But Saudi Arabia has 700 warplanes, 700. We should know, we sold them, many, you probably sold them, many of them.
A mixture of tornadoes and typhoons.
Yes. Why can't they do this job? Why
well, that's a good
Turkey?
question. Why can't they do that?
Turkey is a NATO member with a very powerful army. I mean, Iran has a powerful army.
The point...
One
thing I'm sure of, the Saudis and the UAE are not going to commit troops.
No, they're not. They simply are not, and they want us to do it for them, even though they are in part responsible for this problem. But I'm, Jackie, in no doubt at all about your responsibility in this. And 2 million of us on the streets of London told you so at the time. And for you now to try and wash your hands of your share of the responsibility, I'm afraid that's a spot that will not out. All the perfumes of Arabia will not expunge that spot.
And all of your poetry, George, doesn't prevent people from being murdered and massacred in Iraq and Syria at the moment. I'm not washing my hands of what happened in the past.
You killed a million people in Iraq.
That is a separate...
You killed a million people in Iraq. It's incredible that you have the brass neck to be sitting here now urging another Iraq war.
George,
after
if
what
I
you've
was
already
still in
done.
Parliament, I would be there tomorrow, living up to my responsibility to answer the call of the Iraqi government and people to help to support them. And the fact that you aren't is something that you will have to live with.
Let me ask a final question to you, George. If not bombing, if not intervention, how do we deal with this cancer?
Give Iraq the weapons that it's already paid for but haven't been delivered. Strengthen the Peshmerga. Strengthen the governments of Iraq and Syria, and ask Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Iran to fight this battle. It's their battle, not ours.
Okay, George Galloway, thanks for being with us.